Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Black-hearted sign and blacking again, asking you to hit that share button. I'm not gonna go through all of that usual stuff. I'm recording this to you from the Father-mucking jungle right in the middle of Kuala Lumpur, capital city of Malaysia. Look, I'm recording this message because, well, one, as you can see, I'm by myself. The thing is that there is a driver I met my last time I was here. Since then, that driver has become a buddy. And this time, on this trip, he's coming. He's taking us around, taking my wife and I around. He's been very nice. And I must say, if you're African American and you're Muslim, I mean, if you're Muslim, period, really, this is a great place to be. But there's no exclusion, and you know less because you're African American. As I said before, only ones of us with whom they take issue are specifically from, as my dad would call it, niggeria, meaning Nigeria. And that's not because of their color, but because of their specific reputation. This place reminds me, in a lot of good ways, of my home region, the Gulf Coast. My best memories are usually during the summer. I say spring and summer, not during the winter. This place has no winter. The seafood is great. The humidity is high, if you like that kind of thing like I do. My wife, she has to adjust to it. Like I said, she's from the Horn. It's not humid there, but she's getting used to it. She has to. Now, I'm recording this to tell you something. The people here are known to be sweet. We know this. In the Philippines and here. And in Indonesia, they're known to be a sweethearted people. However, I also want you to understand, feminism has made its way. So-called women's lib has made its way here as well. Women's lib has affected my buddy, the driver, whose name, of course, I'm not going to say in order to protect the guilty and the innocent. But I wanted you to understand that, brothers, this whole SYSBM thing, this red pill, this is something in which we are already in the lead. Even the MGTOW are led by us, and the first ones of them admitted it. Of course, they had to take it and whitewash it, make it conservative, and turn around and act like black people's problems are our own fault, but men's problems are women's fault. They gotta act like this, I get it. But in reality, we're at the head of this. In the beginning, MGTOW men said themselves, you black men are ahead of us by decades. Now, that also being said, I want you to keep this in mind. Whether you want to or not, you are going to set a tone for our allies, or for almost allies, near allies, those who at least are not enemies, and who, if they knew our situation, would want better for us. Here in Malaysia, these folks do not want bad things to happen to us. They just don't think about us a whole lot. But we have influenced their culture. Rap is popular in the Malay language in this country, in Singapore. In Indonesia, maybe a little bit less so, but in this country, in Singapore, they're rapping. They are rapping in their own language. But our culture, of course, goes beyond just rap. But the deeper elements of our culture are already present here. And that's why we get along, the respect for the elders. Although I will tell the elder when they ain't worth nothing, the general respect for elder, the default rule that you will respect your elder, with the understanding, of course, that they ain't gonna lead you wrong. Well, there you go. This is something we got in common. The understanding that you ain't better than nobody and you ain't worse than nobody. This is also, again, something that we have in common. So the deeper elements are already there. The surface elements, well, that's where we have affected them. I'm going to tell you now, this driver is dealing with a sad situation. He's engaged. When I met him, he was engaged last year. He wants to marry her because they're from the same hometown. His parents and her parents and their grandparents are from the same region. The grandparents' homes are within walking distance of each other. He wanted to make it work for that reason. And I had to explain to him, we tried this. See, in Black America, even many of you don't know that this was tried. This was tried in Black America among the upper classes, the so-called 92 octanes, from which I come. On one side of my family, they went from the 87s to the 92s about 2 generations ago. On the other side, they've been there as long as we know, we can remember. There were some of the original, on my mother's side, there were some of the original founding members of the 92 octane class, if you want to call us by that name. That book, People Like Us, was written about folks like my mother's ancestors. The right connections. And see, when people from this 92 octane class meet each other and they recognize each other, even without thinking about the words 92 octane, they will try to compare notes to see who they know in common, because they're going to know somebody in common. This is going to happen. We tried this whole marriage by proximity, telling a woman and a man they should marry because they're both from good families and the families are friends, and now the families will become one family. We tried that. Do you know when that stopped? It began to end with my mother's generation. It has stopped by my generation. And I had to sit up and tell a man who was, Negro friendly, if you will, that we tried the same thing that they have tried. It does make sense. It is logical, and it is a good way to prevent the hard work and the benefits of the hard work of some families from going into the wrong hands. But it can also backfire too. And I had to tell that to this man. I had to sit up and explain to this man, a nice guy, that this does not work and it will not work. And it is not his fault, but it will not work. They will not go for this. I had to tell up and explain to this man that you have to be a damn fool, as nice a guy as you are, and as friendly as we are. You got to be a damn fool to try to make it work with a woman that you suspect you've caught cheating 4 times, but certainly caught cheating once. You must understand that while you're working to build yourself up so that you can be a responsible father, she's sitting up here and trying to get the benefits of everything now and get the same benefits later. I had to sit up and have a talk with him about it. Now, in true form, he interrupted, not because he was mean, but because this is a human habit, a bad habit. And I had to let him know, look, man, I realize this is only our 4th time seeing each other in life, even though we get along well. So you don't have to take what I say as gospel or as revelation, but you do have to take it as the benefit of at least somebody else's experience along with your own and my own. Gentlemen, we are going to be paving the way for others whether we want to or not. It is not because we're arrogant. It's not that. I'm not telling you we got to be this. I'm just letting you know that people who do have some respect for us are going to benefit from what we're doing, from what we're understanding and from what we're teaching. This man speaks English almost fluently. The only grammatical mistake he makes is when he uses the past tense negative. Didn't. He also conjugates the main verb in the past tense. He didn't call to you yet. That's the only mistake this man makes in English. He understands everything. If I put him on to this, he's going to get the message. I think I should. I'm going to be honest. I think I should put him on to this. Because I know that in this part of the world, the people are generally good. They're generally friendly. I understand that in this part of the world, the women, they are generally good to their men. But this is also in Kuala Lumpur, where I am. This is the capital city. I'm not going to be here after today, but this is the capital city. And they got all the bad influences and all the good influences. The bad influences from abroad, the good influences from their own countryside right next door. They can pick and choose. That means that the good women are even better because they chose good over bad. But it means the bad women are even worse because they chose bad over good. And that's what this means. This means the gap between them is much wider. That's all this is. So I want you to keep this in mind. What you're doing is life-changing on a global scale, or at least on an international scale. Other people are learning. Other guys who are generally good by nature and being taken advantage of are benefiting from this. Or they're going to. It's up to you. Now, our question is, well, what does that have to do with us? Why should we care whether they benefit or not? It's simple. Like I said, they're not always allies because they don't know everything that's going on. But there are people in the world that are not enemies to black people and would side against your enemies with you simply because you didn't cause the problem and you're not at fault. These such people do exist, and this is the part of the world in which they exist. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. I know about this. There are no incidents of Africans getting grabbed and beaten up over here in this country. None. It happens in India. It happens in China. That does not happen in this country here. It does not. They're not going to do that because they don't beat people up by race. You got to do something mean to them. If they were going to beat anybody up based on race, they would do it to the Chinese who already live here for the 4th and 5th generations in a row. And they're not doing it to them. They just keep them at a distance. Bye. Stay over there. We're not friends. You understand? That's what they do. So I want you to keep in mind that everybody's not the enemy. And for those who are at least neutral, if not allies and friends, they can benefit from this as well. And this can be one of the greatest things that can happen to mankind. For the people who do not side against the oppressed with the oppressor to be the first ones to get this red pill knowledge so that their own women can't turn around and ruin the family structures among them in the way that white folks and white Western civilization have designed it to do. That's it. That's all. That's what we got. That's what we're looking at. I'm here with my wife. I'm about to go join her now. We're going to see her brother, inshallah. And I'm lucky. I truly am. But I also want you to understand that just because I'm lucky doesn't mean I'm going to forget about those of you that are not. But to be fair, I'm not going to forget about those of you that are not. I'm not going to forget about those from here who are not, provided that they don't turn against us and along with those that oppressed us. This is being fair. This is what I'm required to do. I'm not required to be biased in favor of whoever's wrong simply because of a connection to myself. I'm not even required to be biased in favor of myself if I'm wrong, and I would rather not be biased in favor of myself if I'm wrong. It doesn't serve any purpose. I hope that what I've said is a benefit. I hope that one day it's not true anymore. Until that point, Black Heart signing, Blackout. Assalamu alaikum.